Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Sainte-Mère-Église, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the first SSB. So we're continuing with the trend of the requests to play more of the DLC divisions, and this time we're playing with the SSB. Now the SSB isn't a division that I particularly enjoy playing. Mainly because it dies off so hard in Phase B. Like, you have this really exciting Phase A, and then the division just becomes a bit meh, and then like in Phase C, it sort of comes back, but more as like a different kind of division entirely. In Phase A, you got all of the exciting infantry combat and close range combat in general. And then like in the later phases, it's like arty focused. You bring in all your 25 pounders, you bring in all of your support stuff, and yeah, it becomes very odd. You bring in all of your 17 pounders, for example, and it just plays very weird. I haven't really got on with the first SSB very well. But here I am, giving it a go for you guys, and I've got a lovely town to attack, so you can imagine that's exactly where I was going to go. Obviously, it's clearly marked in front of your face with the marker. I did decide to take the middle right at the start of the game with the SSB. I have the French player on my left side with the... Actually, no, that was the 4th Armoured on the left side. And the French, 2nd Armoured French on my right side. And that's pretty much our setup. Now against us we have the 91st Luftlandde, the 12th SS Panzer, and the 17th SS Panzer. Well, Panzer Grenadiers, I should probably say. So there is a good chance that I could bump into something like the VulcanHDGaming, or maybe even just a bunch of Stosstroop. So I was a bit concerned about what I would be up against, but I was also very confident in my own infantry's capabilities. So I'm deciding to go for pretty much a full infantry start along with this mortar. So I've got plenty of tank busters from the get-go. I've got my command infantry in there. I've got the Commando 6 squads. I've got Commando assault squads. I've got Commando support squads. Basically, every kind of commandos you could ever think of that the first SSB has access to, I'm going to be bringing them in at the start of the game for different reasons and different locations. So for example, the Commando 6 squad, perfect for the church because it has a sniper, they're a 6-man squad, they're quite resilient, and can basically support the entire town from up on that steeple. Commando assaults, however, would be better in this building or this building, because they can then engage at the 100-meter range. Commando supports, better for like these kinds of buildings, because then if they try to push through this tree line, they'll just get mown down by the 30 cal with 8 HE. And then other things like the Commando Fusilier Marines are generally good all round, so they just come in later on when you're running out of the specialized troops for specific locations. So off we go. All of my infantry speeding to their locations. One benefit of the SSB actually is they do have a lot of units that come in these Willys Jeeps. So they get to the front line very, very quickly. And you can see my tank busters just zooming ahead in the 30 cals. The 30 cal Jeeps there. And just going to be dropping them off on the right side. Basically nothing. Probably could have driven through here, honestly. Let's just jump to the neutral perspective. Yeah, there was nothing here. I could have just completely driven through, but I was more focused on this infantry engagement in the middle to realise, I think. And in comes an off map, as you can see. So it's time for me to just put the pressure on. Willys Jeeps are popping left, right and centre as the VulcanHDGaming do actually get their Panzerfaust on target. Here comes that off map I was talking about. And now I know for sure that I'm going to have to put the pressure on. Now I know that my Commando 6 squads are better than the VulcanHDGaming. Also, 2 commando tank busters at close range with the extra veterancy should do quite a lot of damage to Fallschirmjägers as well. So I'm kind of relying on that commando leader going to be rolling out in the open there. Now, the bad thing about Fallschirmjägers is they have only 6 HE at close range, which if you look at the commando tank busters, I mean, it's not going to be good enough, basically. The commando assaults on this left side, they use both of their 20 HE grenades, clearing out the Fallschirmjägers and the Fallschirmführer there. So I've done an absolute ton of damage to his forces. The 91st Luftlander player is left in absolute tatters after that start. And finally realising the salient, here goes my Willys MMG, zooming on through. I think it would have been a lot better if I actually managed to get infantry up here. But no, it's going to be the job of my Jeep just rolling on. And there is 1 unit left holding the town. We have a 56% territory lead. Definitely made short work of his infantry, and there's another off-map strike coming in, but I wasn't entirely sure where he was going to put it. I knew it was coming, because obviously after the first one it's likely that I'm going to get hit by the second one soon after. So I was trying to move and spread out as much as I can, and you can see that's what's happening here. Kind of spread out to the edge of the town. Got my Commando 6 squad moving up here. And then the off-map comes in. Now, since I believe he was using emergency battery, you can see how spread out it was. And it really caught me out quite a lot. Like there, for example, it hit one side of the town and it hit the other side of the town as well. Crazy. Landed right on top of my Commando 6 squad. Fortunately, this one comes back from being pinned down, pins down the enemy Fallschirmjägers, then gets pinned down itself. But the artillery really hitting the spot at the moment. These scouts probably should have turned off their Brens, but at this point, 3-star scout squad probably do a decent amount of damage to the MG34, so I was quite happy to let that keep going. Commando leader comes out of his house, gets hit in the face by a shot there, and well, the Willys MMG actually gets cut off in the end, so no longer affecting the front line. Looks like they sorted that nicely. Now, in reality, there's still not very much here, but there's not much chance for me to run infantry across the open out of the town against things like Fallschirmjägers. It's just not going to happen. So I can see these units coming down the road. I zoom in on this one and find out that it is a Stür 42. You can tell it's a Stür 42 because of the barrel. And the barrel is a lot thicker than a standard Stug. Also the fact that it fired at me from 1,200 meter range straight into my Commando 6s, that also gave the game away a little. Now I have my own Centaurs on the way. These are here to basically kill off the Fallschirmjäger outside of the town and give me the chance to move forwards. But with the introduction of this Stür 42, it makes things a bit more difficult, because now I need something with AP value in order to take out the Stür 42, in order to lead the way for my infantry to actually push outside the town. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a predicament at the moment, and I'm being hit by the 3rd round of artillery, which is not very fun. But go ahead and smoke off the top side of the town. But the artillery's still going to come down there, get direct shots onto all of my infantry squads. It's rather frustrating. Centaur's going to go ahead and finish off the speed troop on the left side. But with me holding the far side of the town, it's very much going well over the halfway mark. Like, the halfway mark on this map is the road, basically. So you can see how much ground we have made. And over on this right side, my 2nd Armoured French player was doing a really good job as well. He'd managed to push through and set up a line in this tree line, which is great. So yeah, anyway, off-map continues. First SSB. Not really much I can do about it. I just got to sit here and take it. Another Commando tank buster gets wrecked. And honestly, I would not be surprised if they put a barrage on here as the last one, because of how infrequent the strikes were. I definitely probably shouldn't have moved the artillery towards there, but you could just see how accurate the blooming artillery was being today. And it's partly luck, but at the same time, well-placed artillery is well-placed artillery. So yeah, not much you can do. So more commando tank busters have been brought up in reserve, and they're basically here to help take out any heavy vehicles that decide to push towards us. Unfortunately, this one I don't end up unloading in time, and it does get killed off by the Stur 42 before the commando tank busters can unload. So bit of a messy game from me, honestly. Centaur's trying to take on the Stur 42. That's pretty much a hopeless battle between the two. The Centaur 4 on this side, though, has a decent chance of killing the 222, though, if it gets a direct hit. What I have to be careful of is, of course, the Pak 38, which does reveal itself. I do manage to hit it directly, but we don't get the pin, so the Pak 38, with almost full panic, manages to one-shot my Centaur, which was annoying, but it is what it is. So I'm kind of just stuck in the town right now. Not too much I can do, and this is where the first SSB kind of gets to me. You have this like exciting phase A, like you can see how much I ripped to shreds the 91st Luftlander player, but now I just can't really do anything. I have like Sherman 2s and I have the Centaurs, so maybe if I can take care of like the AT guns I might be able to move forwards, but at the same time the Sherman 2 isn't enough to deal with the Stur 42, and it's like the highest HE that I have at range. So this Stur 42 pretty much put a spanner in the work for the rest of the game. Otherwise I probably would have started spamming like Commando Fusilier Marines and tried to make some ground, but there's no point if it's just going to constantly be pinned down by a Stur 42. Now the other thing I could have done is maybe charged the Stur 42 with the Sherman 2, but I was very aware that there was another tank here. Admittedly, I think it's a Panzer, like a Panzer 2, yeah, but you can see they also had the Fallschirmjägers, the Panzer Abwehrs spread out. It was pretty suicidal trying to get the Sherman 2 close to the Stur 42, but I could still try to maybe like get the shot in if I could get line of sight. So anyway, I'm just holding the town. My opponent recovered quite nicely, honestly. Hutch 43 here with his Luftlander. He has stabilised, especially after the dramatic start that occurred. Almost all of his units in the town just got annihilated. That might have been like his entire force just dead. But I can't now do anything, so that's like the worst part. And he's being very smart and not allowing me to actually kill this Stur 42. I'm pretty sure he was aware that this was basically the only reason that I wasn't already moving out of the town. Just trying to get another Sherman 2 up to maybe have a go, but in comes another tank, and what do you know, it's the Beuter Firefly. So the 12th SS player has now come to join the fray in the middle of the map, and again, spanner in the work. I can't do anything against a Beuter Firefly, and a Beuter Firefly comes in, actually one-shots my Sherman 2. I'm not going to let it kill my Centaur as well, so I pull that out of line of sight. And my god. Every time I tried to do something different, it just got countered. And I mean, I'm already winning in terms of territory, but I want to keep pushing. I'm not the kind of person who sits around and does nothing when I've got the +1. I always look for ways in which I can continue to move forwards. Unfortunately, in this game, I just couldn't. There was no way to, at least not at this point in the game. Now the Panzer II came around the corner there. My Humber Mark III actually managed to kill it off, which was quite nice. My Sherman II is actually having a go at the Aufklärer on this left side, so that's kind of helping deal with that. But currently, so far, my 4th Armoured player has been relatively dormant. Hasn't pushed too much. Created quite a nice defensive line, but it's actually on our side of the 50-50 at the moment. Preferably he would be pushing, but it didn't really matter. Now that's the other thing I probably could have done. Maybe invested my infantry elsewhere. Since I've now taken the town, pushing out of the town is kind of suicide. I might have been able to invest my units again elsewhere, but this map is kind of odd because although it's relatively close combat, it's got these little gaps between the tree lines which can be absolute suicide for infantry squads. So for example, if I was here and I tried to run to here, I could be hit by all sorts in between. A nice kill there onto the mortar half track. But yeah, IG-18s from the left or right, you'd just be mowed down by, you know, like a Panzer Grenadier squad. Not like in it's the same thing with here. The Fallschirmjägers just have that range advantage. Doesn't matter what I bring. Commander Fusion and Marines are like the best ranged units that I have, and they have 5 HE. Whereas like at 300 meter range, I believe the Fallschirmjägers have like 12 HE or more. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, yeah, just bringing up a spare tank for the town. But now what I'm going to do is just get my tanks out of here. Like, he's got the Boyta Firefly. I can't really do anything on the edge of town with the Shermans without risking being shot by the Boyta Firefly. So, as you can see, I'm just going to start moving my tanks away. And the idea was to fast move them to here, down the bottom here, and then to the right to assist the second armoured French player in breaking through, because I obviously noticed that he was doing relatively well on that side. I'm just going to leave all of my units here. I probably could have taken advantage of this Boyta Firefly being pretty close by moving forwards to commanded tank busters, but I was pretty sure there was some infantry in here as well, so I didn't want to get the tank busters mown down in the open, so instead I go for a kill with the Shermans. Just try and double team it, but he smartly moves the Boyta Firefly behind cover. So again, not much I can do. I'm trying to make things happen, but it's just not working. So my Centaur here has arrived. I brought up a Dingo to meet my tanks there, but I actually sent back the Sherman, so it's just the Centaur that I have available, and what I'm going to do is bring it over to the right side of the town in order to push across the open here. Going to bring up some recon as well to accompany me so that I can find myself some targets for the Centaur. So now I'm playing a do-si-do around this tree line, trying to dodge the AT from the left side, whilst trying not to get killed by the Firefly in the middle and whatever else they bring in. Seeing that Pack 38 still there, of course I'm going to mortar it almost immediately to get rid of that. I'm still sitting on the +1, still climbing points, but like I said before, I don't really enjoy sitting around doing nothing, but that's kind of what the division forced me to do at this point. I am trying to make plays. You can see I'm bringing over this Centaur to the right side to try and have a go at some of the fire support units. But now in the mid we've got Whitman coming up to have a go at my Sherman 5, and aside from that, the Boyta Firefly also has line of sight, and well, there goes the Sherman 5. Just completely outclassing my vehicles at the moment. Now the best thing I could do, the best thing I could think of, was this little push on the right side to assist the French player. Because if they're going to invest like Whitman and the Firefly into the middle of the map, that's a lot of points invested. Hutch is also here as well with the 91st Luftlander, so I can just invest points elsewhere and hopefully make a little bit of a difference. I believe the Tiger came into the mid and the Firefly came into the mid because obviously my teammate wasn't pushing, but now he is, as you can see. He's finally started to move up with all of these rifles and so on. He's got the M4A1 there, he's got the M4 Abrams. Should be able to make quite a lot of ground, especially if he gets a decent shot onto these Pack 38s. But it's still going to take a lot of doing, getting past some entrenched Panzer Grenadiers, especially with the airstrikes coming in there on that left side. Now, since I'm getting pretty sick of airstrikes at this point, I am going to be bringing in my Bofors to help me out. And then I'm going to be looking to get kills with maybe my Seafires later on. So just solidifying the air net at the moment, so that when I decide to finally bring in fighters, I can bait them and shoot down the enemy fighters. A P-38 Lightning here does manage to get onto the back of one of the MU-109s and shoot it down, which is quite nice. I believe they ended up trading 1 for 1 there so far. This MU-109 is going to have a go as well. But since this MU-109 is getting very close to the spawn, you can see I've got one of the recon Seafires ready to go, and as soon as it turns away, boom, on his tail, 2-star veterancy, shoot it down. Nice. So that's 2 fighters down, which worked out quite well for us. And meanwhile on this right side, Centaur's still very much firing away, this time with the help of the Humber Mark III. So there's a lot of like stuff going on, it's just not very obvious. I'm obviously thinking about my air engagements, bringing in the like Bofors here. I'm thinking about how I can assist my teammate on the right side by pushing onto this infantry and so on. I'm thinking about like them bringing in Whitman and the Boyd Firefly and how I can basically avoid it completely and just make those points redundant. And yeah, on this left side, well, the 4th Armoured player is finally pushing up and trying to do some damage. I think it would have been good for him to have these bazookas not on return fire as they move forwards, because I think there's a lot of instances where he probably would have got kills if they weren't on return fire. And the great thing about bazooka squads and also Panzerschrecks is they only fire if a armoured vehicle comes in range of their rocket launcher. Otherwise they only engage at 100 meter range anyway, so you don't necessarily need to use return fire with them unless it's for like a specific region. But either way, massive amount of tanks here now. Got the M4A2, Command M4A2, another M4A2 and the M8 Scott, all firing away at different targets as they reveal themselves. French player really trying to push hard now with myself and the Centaur there. Now it's funny how this area was just defended by the Commando Fusilier Marines the whole time. I was very much aware of this. I just knew that there wasn't really much of a chance of them being able to sneak past this town without me noticing. So having just one Commando Fusilier Marine here in order to hold the front line was perfectly fine. Those Panzer Grenadiers still very much being a pain in the bum. Still having trouble trying to clean those ones out. Here comes the Focke-Wulf 190s. I'm putting a defense beacon on the French armor because Stug 4 has come in. And that Stug 4 basically outranges all of his tanks. In Phase B, ideally you want to be relying on the M4A3s with the 76mm guns, because the 76 Sherman would have definitely killed the Stug 4 by now. Because you can get the 1-star variants that with 2-star just don't really miss too often. 13 AP would have been enough to kill the Stug 4. But now what's happening is he's just moving backwards and forwards. I thought he was just going to try and charge it, which makes sense. I mean, if you're 3v1, if you get within the 1000 meter range, you can charge that down, force it to fall back, and then get the side shot or something. But in this case, what happens is I feel like his tanks automatically fell back when they took a little bit of damage, and then he sort of second guessed himself and ended up losing a tank because of it, because this has quite a long range. So I've got to try and be careful with my own units now, since obviously the Centaur or all of these M4A2s are moving back.
We're listening to you.
But we're still at a +1, so that's great. And Fourth armor player is starting to make some ground. Broken over the 50-50. On this left side, I actually bring in a Hellcat. I was going to go for the bombing strike there, and it probably would have done quite a lot of damage, but I bailed on it and tried to go for the evac, regrettably, and ended up having my Hellcat shot down, which was rather frustrating, but either way, my bad for playing away from my AA. Like, obviously I have some AA here, I have some more AA on the way, and the idea that I had was, while I'm waiting for something to happen, I'll just build up my AA, and then when I want to shoot down the enemy planes, I can try. So that's what I was going for now. Still got the center on the right side that I was sort of microing quite heavily, and on the left side, well, it's pretty much the same stuff in the town for like the rest of the game. I'm pretty sure Whitman just sits there for a very long time doing absolutely nothing. So I was very happy with that. I mean, as long as Whitman's not coming over and deleting all these M4A2s, I don't particularly mind. Now here, again, needed to be very careful. He's smoking off the Stug 4, which is fine. But at least make sure that you're ready to attack it when it comes out the smoke. And at the moment, he definitely wasn't. The M4A2s here, you can see, are remaining in range, but are showing their side armor, which is very, very odd. Not the best play, but it is what it is. Got my Bofors now coming up, so that should help stem some of the airplanes that are coming in. Now this Seafire, I had it sort of hovering around the back. I brought it in so that I could use the Bofors, you know, to shoot them both down. But what ended up happening was the Spitfire took, or the Seafire took it upon itself to just like suicide. I find that's something that is quite annoying in the game. I think it would be nice to have an option on the aircraft to say like aggressive status or aggressive or defensive. And defensive basically makes it so that they don't attack another aircraft until you tell them to, and aggressive will like search for enemy aircraft and shoot them down. Because that's exactly what happened there. I had it just sort of come in to float around above the Bofors, and then it automatically targeted enemy 109 because it came in onto the map, and it ended up getting it shot down, which sucked. So again, here you can see the Seafire. Like, I have to manually tell that to pull off, otherwise it would just try and chase the MU-109 into the enemy spawn. You got to be like very careful with the aircraft micro when you're trying to do this. You can see all those aircraft in the air. Normally I'd be scared of that, but obviously I've got 4 Bofors. I think that's actually probably 5 Bofors, or 6 Bofors. Yeah, we've got 6 Bofors on the field. There's just so many points invested in the aircraft here that I was like, I'll just invest in Bofors. And then they can't really do too much. Got 2 Seafires hanging about.
Enemy spotted.
You can see they try and come in for the kill there, and then realise that my AA wall was just going absolutely crazy on them.
Awaiting instructions.
And the other issue that I have with the Seafires is that they do have a severe lack of fuel. So you can see I'm just getting into a good engagement here. And I can swoop round onto the back of these ME-109s. But my Seafire runs out of fuel just as he's getting close. Fortunately, this one still has fuel and does manage to shoot down one of the ME-109s before he gets forced to fall back. Yeah, the first SSB, there's just so many things that are irritating about the first SSB. And I was very lucky not to lose this Seafire to the ME-109 there. That's another one. The Seafire is having such low fuel. I don't know. So yeah, just bringing in loads of Bofors. AA wall on the right side. Centaur continued to be very helpful. Just been demolishing infantry and fire support units. Bofors now also helping out, taking out the Aufklärer. I'm surprised this Stug 4 lasted for so long. But now we're in phase C, at least I can maybe invest in, you know, 17 pounders and 25 pounders and stuff like that to maybe make a difference. So that's what's happening here. I've got two 17 pounders on the way, I've got 25 pounder on the way. I've got some infantry coming up for the right side, but not too much happening in the middle. Here comes Whitman. He's finished having his cup of tea, and he's come over to the left side to join in the fight finally. The M4A 176 is having a pretty hard time trying to get into a good spot. My 17 pounders are getting here just in time. The M4A1 though does manage to get the kill onto the Boy to Firefly, which is nice. Is going to struggle against Whitman though. And there we go. Whitman scores the kill. Help beacon is put up by my teammate. The 17 pounder going to be getting on target here. First shot is a bounce. ME109 G2 is just going to be forced to fall back. Second shot's a bounce. Unfortunately, the M4A1 went down there. The third shot, going to kill off Whitman. Nice. The two M4A1s for Whitman. I'm not sure if that was really worth it, but either way, it did the job. And you can see how useful my AA net that was there to stop them rocketing my 17 pounder. Lovely stuff. Mareki, they're going to reveal themselves as the Pack 38 gets really close. Unfortunately, Reki don't manage to get the kill before they get annihilated, but I guess that was to be expected. And with the 4th armoured player pushing through on this left side, he does make his counterpart surrender. The 12th SS player does leave the board after losing both his Boy to Firefly and Whitman. So yeah, what was quite a cautious start from Darmatus suddenly became a very aggressive push, and he made a lot of ground. We ended up making 2 players surrender, Hutch 43 and Samu. So now 4 minutes left on the clock until victory. We're currently at +1. My fire support across the entire map is here. Look at the 6 bow for Flak-Wall. Got the 25 pounder here. This center on the right side used up all of its ammunition. That's how much that helped on that side. And then I've got the 17 pounders rolling up on the left side. Wolf 190 G1. That's not going to drop its bombs today. I even decided to bring up a 7th Bofors. So yeah, the style of play just completely changed. Phase A was the really fun town fight. Moving into Phase B, it all just slowed down so damn much. I just couldn't get past the Stug or Stug 42, and then they brought in the Boy to Firefly to make matters worse. And yeah, just didn't end well. Still got the Sherman 2 in the town, and you can see it does hit the Fallschirmjäger very hard. But here comes some aircraft, curved there. Going to be bringing those in. Unfortunately, my Seafire F3 ran out of fuel as it was about to shoot down one of the Fokker Wolves. And what ended up happening was the 2nd armoured player got the kill instead. Good old Unkelek over there. The Seafire doesn't let me down though, as it destroys a Ju-88. Then gets shot down by the BF-109. So an interesting trade, probably a favourable trade honestly. Trading a Seafire for a Ju-88 is probably worth it because the Ju-88s cost so much more, but wasn't particularly happy about that. Probably should have kept him in a dogfight with the BF-109 rather than tried to evac him so close to the enemy spawn. By the way, the 17 pounders having a go at this Stug 4, really trying to get that kill. Over on the left side, the airstrike's still coming in. Does have a couple anti-air, so that's going to stop that from happening.
We're hit.
And I am being pushed on quite hard in the middle now, due to the AI being taken over. But you can see as soon as they get close to the town, they just get killed off. And I do even manage to make a Ju-88 fall back entirely there.
We've got casualties.
Now one of my mortars did get counter-batteried, but not really going to matter too much. Still got the +1 going, still less than 2 minutes till victory. On this right side curve there, really pushing hard. He's the last player on his team, but I'm going to be bringing in the Hellcat with the 25 HE power bombs. Yeah, 25 HE power bombs doing the job. Take out the command unit, they take out one of the units of Panzer Grenadiers, they force the Panzer to fall back, and that's going to allow the M4A2s to pick up the kill. So it was quite a stereotypical game for the second armor player. He was quite dominant in phase A and B, and then fell off very hard in phase C. But yeah, not much else to do there. The bazooka squad takes out the Stug. 1 minute left on the clock. My Sherman 5 is slowly rolling forwards. They're trying to start to pick off my Bofors now, the AI, but not really, again, going to matter at this point. Got a little foothold here with the Fusilier squad in the town, but honestly, if I tried to push them out, I definitely could have. Any like engagement close up in the town would have just ended up with me winning every time because of the commando assaults mainly. Sherman 2 there does get picked off by the Stug 3. One of the Bofors finally gone to the Sturt 42.
Enemy spotted. Be ready.
And I am definitely under pressure, but it's not too bad. 20 seconds left on the clock. Pretty happy with our win.
Got it.
And they took down my Bofors AA net from 7 to 5.
We've got casualties.
Still, very much a nice AA net around the middle of the map.
Let's get.
And that's your lot. Total victory, 33 minutes and 48 seconds. We look at the score. I didn't do particularly well, honestly. 2,105 kills to 1,840 losses. If you think of like all of the stuff I lost, all the Shermans, some of the planes, it kind of makes sense as to why my KD is so close. But we did our job in phase A. We took the town, and then we held it. And then we held it a bit more. And that's how you win Sainte-Mère-Église. Hutch actually got 2,725 kills to 1,080 losses at the end. But it wasn't enough. Both Darmatus and Unkelek, they just sacrificed their men to make ground. And it worked out in the end. The Commando 6 at the start, look how many kills this got. Oh my lord. The Commando 6 took out 3 squads of Fallschirmjäger. They're 45 points apiece. Plus the Fallschirmführers, plus the MG40. Or 34. That's incredible. This Centaur, this was the one on the right side, I think. Didn't pick up as many kills as you would have thought, since it used up all its ammunition. But definitely helped out on that right side. My mortars took out Pack 38s. 17 pounder took out Whitman. And we got those couple kills at the end with the Hellcat. So yeah, not many kills actually picked up myself. A lot of damage done though. And then obviously the kills probably going over to other people. I could have played the air war a little bit better, I feel. But there are things to learn with the SSB. It's not particularly my favourite division. I don't tend to play with it too much. But hopefully it was enjoyable anyway to watch. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.